This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
Welcome to Sports Source Hardball. I'm VFL Will Heflin. I'm joined, as always, by VFL AJ Simcox and Andrew Lee. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Show support for shows like this one. Guys, we're back after a couple weeks. Unfortunately, don't have a whole lot of good things to talk about, but we have a lot to talk about. Tennessee's lost 4 of their last 5 outside of the Ole Miss one. Auburn this weekend, I think the easiest way to sum that up is frustration. Let's dig into some of the things we've seen that are issues. I think the positive that you can pull from when there's a lot of issues is that there's not one thing we can point out: offense, defense, base running, playing catch, holding runners, all the little things. You feel like you're struggling in so many aspects that it almost makes me think that maybe there's something that needs to change that could fix a lot of things and, turn the whole thing around. But let's talk about what you guys have seen maybe from the hitting side first, Andrew.
I think the biggest thing that scares me or maybe gives me, pause is the lack of run support that the pitchers have had. Offense can hide a lot of mistakes. If you win a game 10-9, nobody talks about, the bullpen giving up 4 runs or the starter coming out early. And it just adds more energy to the game when you've got, runs rolling in. So the fact that in the last 3 game 3s, we've had, 5 total runs in those rubber matches, it just feels like there's a lack of momentum on the offensive side right now. And I think that's starting to carry over into every other facet of the game. Tennessee in the last few years has been that team that's just going to bang balls around the yard. And if it comes to it, we'll beat you, 11-10 if we have to. But we're always going to put runs on the board. And I feel like that's kind of what's been missing, at least lately.
Especially on Sundays. It's
on
going to
Sundays.
be the highest scoring.
And Sundays,
it's supposed to be, yeah.
Sunday is usually the home run derby, right? We have younger arms throw in, and it's a chance for guys to pick up and maybe let loose some of those frustrations they felt facing good arms on Friday and Saturday.
Day games, the balls travel a little bit better. But I think you touched base on it right there, right? Like, I think you hit it perfect. We haven't been getting run support. And so, we haven't been playing stellar defense.
Okay, You're an infielder.
Yeah.
You were phenomenal at shortstop.
Yeah.
What's it like when you feel not confident?
That was my entire freshman year. My freshman year, I made, I think, 24 errors in a full season, which is atrocious.
For the non-hardcore baseball followers, that's a lot of errors.
That's atrocious.
How many did you make your last year?
I think 5.
Okay.
There we go.
For the full season. And so it's a maturation process, right? And you've got to lean in on your hard work. But there is nothing worse than when you are not confident in the infield, because it feels like every ball is coming at you, and it's always a tough play. And honestly, some of the best things that can happen to you when you are struggling in the infield is you have to make a hard play. Like, so Dean Curley had that play, I think it might have been Friday night, that ball up the middle he dove for and made a sick play. That could be something that gets you out of a funk because you don't have any time to think about it, right? When you're struggling defensively, you have so much time. You're fielding the ground ball. You're thinking about the throw as soon as you catch it, and it just buries you. Like, you have time, and the more time you have, the more you can think about it, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do. You're not just letting your natural instincts, your natural ability, and your work ethic take over. It's your mind, and I'm not going to say the Y word, but that's kind of where it eventually leads to. But it just seems like when things are going bad, there's always something that happens. Like the Ole Miss game, or not the Ole Miss game, the LSU game, Friday night, right? He makes the 2 errors. The one was it was a bad throw, right? But the second error, that was a really tough hop. And at third base, he kind of played himself into it a little bit, but it's such a reaction that you have to make that split-second decision. I think he maybe could have taken a drop step, but if he does that, he only gets 1 out instead of 2. And so, that's a play that if things are going good, you probably pull something and make a sick play. When things are going bad, it just seems like everything happens. poorly like that.
And as someone who had a little bit more fielding experience than I did at UT, how does some of those struggles, both at the plate and in the field, kind of blend into other areas of the game?
Well, I think with the team in general right now, I think it's all just kind of compounding, right? I mean, the defense has been subpar in SEC play. I'm looking at the stats right now. In our main infielders, we got a .939 fielding percentage, a .908, a .938, and a .928, excluding the first baseman. Second base and third base, that's not getting it done. Shortstop, .938, .940 is okay. It's definitely not in the top half of the league. And then you factor that in with the pitching. The bullpen has been really struggling, right? And they've been giving up a lot of runs. There hasn't really been a reliable piece there. And so that's adding pressure. And then when they are making the pitches, we're not making the plays on defense. So those are adding pressure onto each other. And then offensively, to kind of just put the cherry on top, the last 4 series we're hitting .208 with runners in scoring position. Now, some of that, there's a couple productive at-bats in there that go down as an out. But all in all, bad defense, not a stellar bullpen right now, a bullpen that's scuffling. And .208 with runners in scoring position is not a recipe for success. And the problem is all 3 of those add pressure to each other.
They do. It's similar to football. You've got to play complementary baseball. The longer your defense is out there, the longer you're not hitting. And when you're out there hitting for a long time, the other team is standing out there. And so it gives your pitcher an advantage. And it just seems a little off the last few weeks. I think, when the A&M doubleheader happened, it was kind of the first time. And it just felt like a weird day, and so you're able to kind of brush that off. And then Kentucky always plays you weird. Like those series are something we've seen before, but this one really felt like a series where any time over the Tony Vitello tenure, when they needed to play well in a series, they may not have been perfect, but you knew it was going to be absolute war for the other team to go in there and win. And Auburn was this close to sweeping us.
Yeah.
And they outplayed us the entire weekend. And that's what bothers me is you feel like you outplayed LSU the week before and you didn't win the series. And then this weekend you get outplayed and you don't win the series. Like it's the first time really in the last 5 years that you look at them and you're like, man, I don't feel like they're about to pull themselves out of this. Sometimes we've been in similar situations where maybe they haven't been playing great, but even if they were down 3, you felt like they were going to pull themselves out, right? And for the first time watching that game 3, which is crazier after the momentum you got from the walk-off, they went down early and I didn't feel like they could pull themselves out of it. And that's an issue to me.
And that's been a luxury that in the Tony Vitello era that many teams don't get to feel. So we've been a spoiled fan base. But to have a team that is never out of it in your mind, whether it's 3, 4, 5 runs, we'll hit a couple homers back in the game, win the game. And like you said, this is the first time that there's some doubt to that.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the next point. There might have been no better time for Tony to get ejected than at the end of that Auburn game. As far as let me maybe light a fire, address some of the pretty horrendous umpiring that was happening that weekend. Whoa. And I love that he walked around the field and told each guy why they sucked one by one, right?
He gave that.
He was saying how great they were.
He gave the game 1 umpire. He acted like he was catching it in the other box and yanking it over. That was the best part for me.
I wish he would have done the Max Scherzer and flipped the coin and.
Right.
It was also it was a combination of all that motivation for Tennessee, trying to spark something. He was tired of watching that. I mean, he was beyond frustrated, and the guy hates losing.
Yep.
So first time he's been thrown out this year. I don't believe he was thrown out at all last year, and it kind of felt almost a little late to me. I thought there was no way he was making it through game 1 with that zone that was going on for their guy. He was a good pitcher, and when he's getting 3-4 inches off the plate on each side,
you can't do anything.
You got no shot.
Yeah. And it's easy to sit there and say, hey, make an adjustment, and eventually you do have to, but it's so hard to do that in a game because that pitch isn't close.
And when it's egregious, you can't.
And you don't want to create bad habits by chasing a pitch that's that far off, even if you're going to get rung up on it, right? I mean, there's so many variables that go into that, and it's just – and I get it. I mean, the game is evolving. so many pitchers are throwing so much harder now. The speed of the game has increased substantially over the last 10, 15 years. That the umpires do have a tough job, but still, be a little better.
This episode of Hardball is brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. When you need an attorney, look for the best and be sure they're local. That's Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, proud supporters of Tennessee baseball. It's time to zoom out and talk about what's in front of Tennessee, because as bad as it feels right now, you've got your rival Vanderbilt coming in this weekend, and then you go to Arkansas. You're sitting at 14 wins, or 13, in conference play. You win 3 of your next 6, you're for sure hosting a regional. You win 4, you're for sure a top 8 seed. You're okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good, but you're okay. And is there a better team for Tennessee to play right now than Vanderbilt, or is there a worse team? How do you guys feel?
I think Vanderbilt could be the perfect team because Vandy's tried to lean on pitching and defense this year. So this might be the one where 4 to 5 runs gets it done for us, which has been kind of our rate cap over the last few weekends. So I think, number one, getting a rival, going out maybe a little pissed off to play this game on Friday night could be a little bit of the wake-up, get some momentum, carry that in from the rivalry series, go to Arkansas, who we've kind of built a mini rivalry with over the last few years. As bad as it feels with the recent slide, I think it could just as easily turn into a momentum builder with 2 wins this weekend going to Arkansas. It can flip on a dime in this league, and we always got to remember that
Absolutely.
you're never out of it, and really it's more open than it's ever been. There's like 5 college baseball polls. There's 3 different number ones this week alone, depending on the poll. If that doesn't tell you it's open, it's wide open, I don't think anything will. Vanderbilt, where do they rank in your rivalry for baseball? Baseball only.
Number 1.
They're 1?
Yeah, for me personally.
Yeah, they were the one. It was kind of like the uptown school versus like the up and coming when we were here. Vandy was coming off, multiple trips to the national to Omaha and national title series, and they always kind of tried to play big brother to us, which ironically enough, I think we won 2 of the series when we played them when we were in school. So this was always one that we
won
kind of.
one of them.
Oh, one of them. Excuse me. We had a couple Sunday games that didn't go our way.
Yeah, it was always a really good series. So our freshman year, that was the team that's for Vandy that set the SEC record for wins. They went 27-3. They had 2 first-team All-Americans. Their Sunday guy he was a freshman. He ended up going 8th overall, and their midweek guy was Walker Buehler, who, not a bad guy.
Decent.
And we started 8 freshmen, and we went and had the lead or were tied in the 8th inning in all 3 games at Vanderbilt. We got swept, but we had the leader was tied in all 3 games. Mm-hmm. Our sophomore year, we won 2 out of 3, and that was the year they won the national championship. Yep. And then our junior year, we lost the first, beat Walker Buehler on Saturday, and then
we won't talk about Sunday.
We gave up a 8 or a 10 spot in the first inning and didn't stand a chance on Sunday.
They're 2 for me.
Yeah,
they're 2. Kentucky is 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just the personal bias. Yeah. It's hard not to have respect for Tim Corbin for what he's done.
I do love Corbs.
It doesn't mean we like him, and I get the vibe of that program over the last 2 decades or so. So they're 2 for me, but I have a very fond memory of playing them in 21. It was really the first weekend that they opened up our stadium, and Tennessee fans had just had nothing post-COVID, and so it's really the first time that Lindsey Nelson was full, and I was on the mound against Jack Leiter, and that was the Evan Russell go-ahead bomb. He hit 3 that game, 2 off Leiter, and then the biggest one was basically the game winner, and I think I went like 7 in that game. So kind of have that fond memory, but also it was like, you dislike Vanderbilt. But
I'll probably be vilified for saying this, but I really like Tim Corbin, and I have the utmost respect for him.
I don't know that I like him, but I respect him.
I like him.
I
like him, and I really respect him. I think he does a phenomenal job. I mean, the success he's had, the program he's built. Now, with that being said, it's still Vanderbilt, and I do not like Vanderbilt. Yeah. That was our number 1 rivalry. It was always heated when we played them. The last couple of years have always been heated when we've played them with Vitello and Corbs, and it's kind of a clash of styles with those 2 for sure.
Hey, Mike Concho was born at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
The sticker.
Yeah.
The sticker, Jordan Beck.
And I'm just going to put this out there. The Vandy Whistler I hate you. I'm sorry. You might be the best person ever, but you ruin every television experience that I have watching Tennessee.
Could be the nicest person ever at the baseball field. You're the worst.
Yeah. If your own fans and team ask you to stop and you won't, I'd have a hard time believing you're the nicest ever. But get back to on the field real quick.
Yep.
Kind of similar to Kentucky in terms of how they build, and they're willing to play a little bit of small ball. Now they came back and beat Alabama in their rubber match via the homer and driving the baseball.
Dead center.
Their offense has been a lot like Tennessee's, kind of up and down, and pitching should be the strength of their staff, but have had some issues there. You've got a really good matchup on Friday with two lefties going at it. Theirs is J.D. Thompson. And then similar to Tennessee, they got a lot of power arms. They still recruit pitching at a very high level over there. So what does Tennessee need to do to get out of this funk right now?
Obviously, like sunshine and rainbow scenario, we come out, jump all over Thompson, get him out in like 4 innings, hang 5 or 6 runs on him. Now, grand scheme, give me a competitive Friday, take advantage of a good Liam Doyle start, get a Friday win to create some momentum. And after that, baseball is such a momentum game. You get something rolling, get some guys on base, bring some runs in, and it could turn into what A&M series was for them. Get us back to a butt-kicking routine.
Yeah. For me, I'm challenging Fisher and I'm challenging Keelan.
Yep.
So you're two highest in hitting professional prospects, and it's a lot to ask, but they need to be productive this weekend and do damage. Tennessee's got to get back to hitting the ball over the wall and getting on base via the walk and forcing action there, and then get the big swing and the crooked number like you're talking about. And that's it's way easier said than done, but
I'll keep it simple. Just win, baby. you win. You got to play good defense and get opportune hitting. If you can come up clutch. Honestly, Inslee and Bargo have probably been the 2 most clutch guys on the team, especially Inslee.
Absolutely.
And you got to get some clutch at bats outside of those 2 guys. And the opportunities have been there. Like I said, we're hitting 208 runners in scoring position the last 4 series, but that's with 96 at bats, and that doesn't include sack bunts, sack flies. So there's been opportunities. If they can take advantage of those opportunities, score some runs, it alleviate some of the pressure on the pitchers. You get the mojo going. Like we said with A&M, we've seen the ceiling of this team. It's the number 1 team in the country running off a lot of wins in a row. And then we've seen what they've become in the last 4 series. They're probably somewhere in the middle of that. The number 1 team that they were at the beginning is probably the peak, obviously. But this could be a really good series against a good opponent that will get some competitive juices going. It's a rivalry. This could be the series that turns the season around.
Just win, baby. Thanks so much for watching the show. Be sure to show support by clicking like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.